In the late 7th century BC, a colossal power emerged from the Fertile Crescent. The Neo-Babylonian Empire, under the formidable King Nebuchadnezzar, extended its dominion across the ancient world. Its shadow fell heavily upon the independent kingdom of Judah. As prophecies had foretold, Jerusalem, the cherished heart of the land, succumbed to Babylonian might. The year 605 BC marked a pivotal moment. Nebuchadnezzar's forces besieged and ultimately conquered the Holy City. A wave of devastation swept through Judah. Among the spoils of war, Nebuchadnezzar sought not just gold and artifacts, but also the most promising of Judah's youth. He commanded his chief eunuch, Ashpenaz, to select certain young men. These were to be without physical defect, handsome, intelligent, and insightful. They needed to possess a strong grasp of knowledge and be capable of serving in the royal palace. Nebuchadnezzar's intent was clear. He aimed to assimilate these captives into Babylonian culture. They would learn the language and literature of the Chaldeans. They would then serve in his court, bolstering his empire with their talents. Among those chosen from the noble and royal families of Judah were 4 young men. Their Hebrew names resonated with their heritage: Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. These young men, torn from their homes, faced a stark new reality. They entered the opulent yet unsettling world of the Babylonian royal palace. Their identities were swiftly altered to reflect their new allegiance. Daniel was renamed Belshazzar, Ananiah became Shadrach, Mishael was called Meshach, Azariah received the name Abednego. For 3 years they were to undergo intensive training. They would immerse themselves in the complex Babylonian wisdom and languages. The king himself provided a daily ration for these chosen youths. It consisted of rich food from his own table and the wine he himself drank. This provision was a mark of royal favor, ensuring their strength and brilliance for service. However, for Daniel, this generous offering presented a profound dilemma. The king's food and wine were likely prepared in ways that violated the dietary laws and traditions of his god. They might have been offered to pagan idols or contained forbidden ingredients. Daniel resolved in his heart not to defile himself with these royal provisions. His faith principles were paramount, even in captivity. With quiet courage, Daniel approached Ashpenaz, the chief official. He respectfully requested permission to abstain from the king's food and wine. Ashpenaz, however, was apprehensive. He feared the king's wrath. "I am afraid of my lord the king," he explained to Daniel. "He has assigned your food and drink. If he sees you looking worse than the other young men your age, he will have my head because of you." Daniel, undeterred, then spoke to the guard whom Ashpenaz had appointed over them. He proposed a simple test. "Please test your servants for 10 days," Daniel urged. "Let us be given only vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the other young men who eat the king's food. Treat your servants in accordance with what you see." The guard, perhaps sensing Daniel's conviction, agreed to the 10-day trial. For 10 days, Daniel and his 3 friends adhered to their simple diet. They ate only vegetables and drank only water. Meanwhile, the other young men in the training program continued to consume the king's rich fare. When the 10 days concluded, a remarkable difference was observed. Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah looked healthier and better nourished than any of the other young men. Their faces glowed with vitality. The guard, witnessing this astonishing outcome, continued to give them vegetables and water, removing the king's food and wine. This demonstration of unwavering faith brought divine favor. God granted these 4 young men extraordinary gifts. He gave them knowledge and understanding in all kinds of literature and learning. They absorbed the complex subjects of the Babylonian court with ease. Daniel, however, received an exceptional gift beyond the others. He possessed an extraordinary ability to understand all kinds of dreams and visions. This unique capacity would prove pivotal in the years to come. When the 3 years of their training were complete, Ashpenaz presented them to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king conversed with them. He found them to be exceptionally bright and discerning. In every matter requiring wisdom and understanding, Nebuchadnezzar discovered they were 10 times more capable than all the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. These young captives, by their conviction and God's powerful hand, had not only survived but thrived, setting the stage for Daniel's unparalleled influence in the heart of Babylon. In 605 BC, the ancient world witnessed the dramatic subjugation of Judah, and the revered city of Jerusalem fell before the might of King Nebuchadnezzar's forces. A wave of fear and despair swept through the populace as Babylonian soldiers marched through their sacred streets. Among the sorrowful captives, a specific directive from the conquering king was issued. Nebuchadnezzar, in his calculated pursuit of consolidating power and absorbing the best of his conquered territories, ordered the selection of young men. These were not just any youths. They were to be chosen from the royal family and the nobility of Israel, possessing no physical blemish, handsome in appearance, intelligent in every branch of wisdom, endowed with knowledge, quick to understand, and capable of serving in the king's palace. His intent was clear: to indoctrinate these promising individuals in Babylonian culture, language, and literature, ultimately grooming them for service within his vast empire. Among those chosen for this rigorous program were 4 young men who stood out even amidst their peers. There was Daniel, whose name meant, "God is my judge," and his 3 devoted friends: Ananiah, meaning, "The Lord is gracious," Mishael, who is what God is, and Azariah, "The Lord is my help." Uprooted from their homes and everything familiar, they were thrust into the opulent yet overwhelming environment of the royal palace in Babylon. As was customary for captives destined for royal service, their identities were symbolically stripped and replaced. The chief official, Ashpenaz, bestowed upon them new Babylonian names, severing a tie to their heritage. Daniel became Belshazzar, Ananiah was renamed Shadrach, Mishael became Meshach, and Azariah was called Abednego. For 3 arduous years, they would undergo intensive training, immersed in the arcane Babylonian language, its complex literature, and the customs of their new overlords. However, a profound challenge arose early in their training. Nebuchadnezzar had decreed that these specially selected youths would be provided with the finest provisions from his own royal table. This included rich, luxurious food and the king's choicest wine. For Daniel, a devout Israelite raised on the principles of the Mosaic Law, this presented an immediate and grave dilemma. The king's food, likely prepared in ways forbidden by their dietary laws or consecrated to pagan deities, would defile him and his friends in the eyes of their God. Daniel, resolute in his faith and unwavering in his convictions, determined that he would not defile himself with the king's rich food or the wine he drank. Displaying remarkable courage and tact, Daniel approached the chief official responsible for their care. He requested permission to abstain from the royal provisions. The official, though sympathetic, was visibly apprehensive. "I fear my lord the king," he explained to Daniel, "who has assigned your food and drink. Why should he see you looking worse than the other young men your age? You would then endanger my head before the king." It was a legitimate concern. Failure to maintain the young men's health could cost the official his life. Daniel, understanding the official's predicament, proposed a simple yet daring test. "Please test your servants for 10 days, he urged. "Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the other young men who eat the king's food, and treat your servants in accordance with what you see." The official, perhaps intrigued by Daniel's conviction or swayed by his earnestness, agreed to the 10-day trial. For 10 days, Daniel and his 3 friends consumed nothing but a simple diet of vegetables and water. The other young men continued to feast on the king's rich provisions. As the trial period concluded, a remarkable and undeniable sight greeted the chief official. Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah looked healthier, stronger, and better nourished than all the other young men who ate the king's rich food. It was a clear, visible demonstration of divine favor, a testament to their unwavering faith and God's faithfulness in honoring their commitment. From that day forward, the official allowed them to continue their simple diet, removing the king's food and the wine and giving them vegetables instead. But the blessing did not stop there. God, in His boundless grace, granted these 4 young men extraordinary gifts. He gave them knowledge and understanding in all literature and learning. Their minds became sharp, their comprehension deep, far surpassing their peers. And to Daniel, specifically, God imparted a unique and profound gift: the ability to understand all kinds of visions and dreams. This singular aptitude would set him apart in the years to come, enabling him to navigate the complex spiritual landscape of the Babylonian court. After the 3 years of intensive training mandated by King Nebuchadnezzar, the time came for all the selected young men to be presented before the monarch. The king personally interviewed them, assessing their knowledge and capabilities. As he conversed with Daniel, Ananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, he found them to be exceptionally wise and discerning. Indeed, the king discovered that in every matter requiring wisdom and understanding, they were found 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. Their steadfast faith, expressed through a seemingly small act of dietary obedience, had unlocked an unparalleled level of wisdom and opened the doors for their significant service in the heart of the Babylonian Empire. From a captive youth, plucked from his homeland and thrust into the opulent, yet morally challenging, world of Babylon's royal court, Daniel faced an immediate choice: compromise or conviction. His refusal to defile himself, to uphold his God-given identity amidst an empire designed to erase it, was not an act of rebellion, but of profound trust. This young man's steadfastness, born of quiet courage and unyielding faith, brought him not only divine favor and wisdom, but a profound testimony that echoes through millennia. His story challenges us. Wherever we find our Babylon, be it in cultural currents, professional pressures, or personal trials, will we, like Daniel, dare to stand firm? His life powerfully demonstrates that true influence springs not from conforming to the world, but from faithfully reflecting an eternal truth, proving that even in the heart of perceived captivity, a resolute spirit can thrive and shine, becoming a beacon for all.